Hello, good evening. We'll start in a few minutes. Okay. Hey, everybody. All right, I was trying to get us set up on Facebook. I think that is working. Let's see here. Getting our panelists together and all of that. I want to welcome everybody here from around the globe. Got a couple of interesting conversations we're going to have tonight. And of course, if any of you want to get on the show with us, let me know. Just put it in the chat and I'll promote you to a panelist because I like to have a lot of different people talking. So, Talisha, I promoted you. I don't know if you're able to talk tonight or not.
Yes, I am. And it won't let me start the video.
No, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, if you're trying to talk to Alicia, I can't hear you.
Driving them to...
Oops. Had my news on there. Okay, let's try again. Okay, let's see here. Hey, Eric, you're on panel. Okay. Guys, in the chat, let me know if you can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you. Yes. Okay. Perfect. And thanks, Pamela, for letting me know you can hear me. Thanks, Angela. Thank you. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. Now I can hear you. Apparently, I had my news on, and I think I lowered some stuff and didn't know what was happening. Anyway, welcome. Okay, so if anybody else wants to be on the panel tonight, please let me know. Nobody is on video. Eric, Dr. Keisha, Talisha, y'all are up on panel, but no one's on video. So
it says we can't start the video.
Yeah.
It says you can't start because the video, the host has stopped it. One of those things.
I don't know why I keep saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And I never know how to fix this.
You can go into on the panel side where you have all of us and just put, there's a link, like basically a right click there, and it'll say show camera, and it'll have everybody.
Okay. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it's here. Allow panelists start. Oh, I didn't think I meant to do that. Yeah, try it now. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, look at you all sassy tonight.
Oh, no, it's hot, and I've got caught in the rain, so.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
There we go. Now we're starting to see the peeps.
Yes.
All right. So I want to say hello to everybody that is in Zoom with us, as well as all of you who are on Facebook with us. Welcome. Tonight, I'll know we have technical difficulties sometime. Dr. Keisha, are you there?
I'm coming in. I'm coming.
Okay, already. Then just want to make sure you were.
I'm working on it on my side.
So I want to welcome everyone. So I called tonight Blockchain Chat. I'm still trying to figure out what this whole segment is going to be. So forgive us. We may change the name again. But for tonight, it's called Blockchain Chat. And what we're going to start doing is we used to have our interviews every Wednesday. What we're going to do, because I really like these types of discussions, is we're going to have the interviews like twice a month and then have these types of discussions twice a month. So if you are part of our BBC family, you'll get a little bit of each. We're still trying to figure out the best mix. And if you have any suggestions or comments or favorite things or people that you want interviewed, and it could be anywhere around the world, let us know. If there are some blockchain people that are real, experts, they don't have to be Black. We bring on all sorts of people as long as they're able to teach us and introduce us to new things. Drop us a suggestion, because we have Anita Calloway now who is going to start setting up those interviews for us. So we brought her on officially to do that. So she'll be scheduling those for us. So Talisha has an idea of calling the segment Off the Chain. Okay.
This is off the cuff, off the chain. We could just
off the chain, off the blockchain.
I like it. I see what you did there.
I like it. Yeah. So we'll definitely see what we end up calling it. So eventually, I've been talking to Audrey about this. I want us to take our old MP3s from YouTube and things like that and turn it into a podcast, like a real podcast on iTunes, et cetera, just when we get some more time. Right now, we've got a lot of good things happening. So tonight's discussion is going to be about a few news articles that I found. One is going to be about Libra and some interesting news that came out of, I think it was Visa, something like that, but we'll look at it tonight. Also, I found this really cool article about a newer, faster exchange that's just being developed. So, we always want to keep in the forefront of what's happening. Found another article about leveraging smart contracts in the new economy. And I found another article about a Russian airline that made $1 million last month by accepting crypto. So we're going to look at that one as well. Big ups to our girl, Sarita Hines, because we know that she is in the aviation industry. And don't forget, Sarita is looking for professionals who already have past experience with aviation. She's hiring. So if you need an introduction, let me know. But she's very easy to find on social media if you're looking for a blockchain job. So before I begin, though, with introductions and all of that, just a couple of announcements for everybody that is here tonight. Number one is Eric Spence is going to be leading our next virtual conference, which is going to be around 21st century business fundraising and crowdfunding and things like that. We're going to not only talk about tokenization of assets, but opportunity zones, crowdfunding, et cetera, and how we as Black people can prepare ourselves for 21st century fundraising for our businesses, our real estate development projects, et cetera. Eric, do you want to tell the people, give any announcements with regards to what's going to be happening there?
Yeah, just to, we did have a call about it last night with myself and some of the other thought leaders that are going to be leading the space. I'm just really excited about it because it's so much on the cutting edge of the new developments that are taking place with blockchain. But just like Cherie said, we're also talking about, opportunity zones and crowdfunding and how all of these things intersect together. So I'm just super excited about it. The guest list that we're going to pull in on this is going to be exceptional. I'm excited to talk to these people and pick their brains. And, this kind of stuff is just so valuable to be able to, just do this. So I'm just really excited about, what's going to happen.
Cool. And it's probably going to happen in October, late October or early November 2019, definitely before Thanksgiving. So we'll make sure that everybody has plenty of time to put it on your calendars. Also, to put on your calendar, the 2020 Atlanta Conference is going to be happening definitely February 16th and 17th, 2020. So February 16th is a Sunday, February 17th is a Monday. It happens to be President's Day. You have 7 months to ask your boss for time off. So just like you're going to take your vacation to go to the beach, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to join us for our blockchain conference, it's going to be happening then. We're going to start inviting this week some of Atlanta's top blockchain experts to come and join us. We are going to be tokenizing an asset on Sunday. Live. It's going to be a piece of African American art. It's going to be fun. And then the second half of the day on Sunday, we're going to focus on how do we build billion-dollar blockchain businesses. We're going to start with tokenization of assets, but I think we'll have a couple of we call it breakout rooms as well. So if people have other interests and you want to get together, I really want to see commerce happening here where we start getting serious about building businesses. And taking advantage of the blockchain, not to just be consumers, but to be creators as well. And then on February 17th, which is that Monday, which is President's Day, that's going to be our big day. We are looking to have 150 people in the room. And I will tell you, we are still trying to decide what angle we're going with, but you all know whatever it's going to be good. So we've got some big plans there. We are going to be asking people between now and September 15th to help us fund the 2020 Atlanta Conference. $149 gets you in for both days, both Sunday and Monday. And that price will go away on September 15th or September 16th. So September 15th will be the last day. And that really just helps us to pay for the room. So we as BBC are not making any money on it. It just helps us to pay for the room. So we're looking for 50 people to help us with this. So if you know you want to come, you definitely want to come. It will be non-refundable. But if you're definitely coming, then I'm going to set up a way for you to send those funds to us. You can lock in your space, of course, at that discounted rate. And then for anybody who is here who is new, want to welcome you to BBC officially. What we do is we focus on blockchain jobs. If you want to get a blockchain job, you want to start a blockchain-based business, you want to start investing in the blockchain, whether you're investing time or money. And ultimately, we focus on building generational wealth. So everything we talk about within this group is what's happening in the blockchain industry and how can we take advantage of it, whether it's for a career or for starting and growing our own businesses. So we've got our Blockchain 101 course. You can go to blackblockchainconsultants.com, click on the courses button. We also have a membership. We have an internal group that has all sorts of discussions. And we also have opportunities for people to make money in blockchain through our upcoming BCI, Blockchain Consortium International business. We've got some big things happening there. And again, it's blackblockchainconsultants.com to get more information about that. So now Tawana won't kill me for making the obligatory announcements. So she's been telling me, you need to announce membership to let people know. So Caressa's asking, do you know where in Atlanta the event is going to take place? It's going to be one of two places. I think it's East Side Atlanta. Oh, please don't, I think it's called East Side part of Atlanta. We're deciding on one of two places. We're waiting on the final contracts, but they both have the dates available penciled in for us. So It's just a matter of us getting the contracts, reading them, and figuring out which one we want to use. So no, it's Sean, it's not East Spot. No, one of the places is called Loudermilk Conference Center, and the other place is a Black-owned we call it co-working space. Yes, that has a conference room and a breakout room available. So, and they're about 8 or 9 minutes apart from each other. So they're both in the same general vicinity of Atlanta. But we'll definitely give you all of that information way in advance, so you are able to reserve your hotel room. I'll tell you guys where I'm staying, so if y'all want to stay in the same place, and we can have dinner and all of that good stuff and hang out, drink mojitos or whatever it is your drink of choice. Okay, let's get started. For people who are new here, Talisha, Eric, Dr. Keisha, I'd love for you to introduce yourselves, tell the family who you are, and then we're going to get started with some deep dives. So Talisha, why don't you get started?
Sure. I'm Talisha Shawn. I am the Vice President of BCI. I am also the healthcare go-to person in our space. So I specifically am a digital healthcare professional specializing in digital healthcare platforms such as EHRs, and also I build software, pharmaceutical and medical software for insurance companies.
Cool. Eric?
Yes, Eric Spence. I am president of BCI, a member also of Black Blockchain Consultants. I am also a music publisher, been in the music business for approximately 20 years. Been in the music publishing side for approximately the last 8 years, focusing on just copyright ownership, or monetizing all of the different revenue streams that music generates.
Dr. Keisha?
Hello, I'm Dr. Keisha Waddell, and I am the Executive Director of the Center for Blockchain Studies, our online training space. I'm also a professional teacher of over 25 years on the high school level, a special educator, all about empowering others with the new and latest, greatest technology. And this is my area. Digital literacy is my thing. And I need to know all about blockchain, and I'm happy to share it with other people.
And Dr. Keisha is going to have a 2-hour course on blockchain in Detroit. It's going to be Detroit, sure. Yes, so it's going to be happening in September. So if you live in Detroit and you want to participate, if you are in Flock, obviously if you're a BBC member, contact Dr. Keisha directly. She'll put you on that list. If you are not a part of BBC, you can email me info@blackblockchainconsultants.com. We'll make sure to get you on that Detroit list because she is going to be teaching that that class. It's going to be a great class, 2 hours live. You get to interact with her and get all of your questions answered, etc. about blockchain.
Yes.
So. And then I'm Cherie. I'm the founder of the organization. I have a full-time business writing business plans and grant proposals for companies that are mostly raising money, raising capital. So that is what I do. Mm-hmm. All righty then. So let's get started with some education. And I think, yes, this is it here. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these articles. You all know I read them, but you can stop me as you wish, as you see something that's interesting. So this is airlines blockchain ticketing platform sees $1 million in July sales. So again, this is a Russian airline, but you know what's happening overseas is eventually going to come over here. So we want to definitely stay abreast of these things. So it's saying Russia's second largest airline is touting the benefits of blockchain tech after a ticketing platform it developed raked in over $1 million in a month. So 7 airlines announced this on Wednesday, which was yesterday. The positive figure for July is proof that blockchain tech can help boost businesses' sales. So the sales director said, thanks to this technology, now it's easier for our agents to work directly with the airline. which allowed us to expand our own S7 Airlines sales network. Within this year, we are planning to deploy first online agents whose work would comply with the NDC standard on the platform. I have no idea what that means, but obviously it means more money for them. So S7 Airlines sold its first air ticket over the Ethereum-based private blockchain platform developed in collaboration with the Russian commercial bank Alpha Bank in July of last year. Using blockchain-enabled, somebody didn't edit this, sorry. Using blockchain, the airline to securely connect its ticketing booking system to the banking system. Let me read that again, try to get that right. So the airline securely connected its ticket booking system to the banking system, speeding up payment processing and slashing the amount of manual paperwork traditionally required. The project shows that blockchain creates value and is largely decisive for a B2B market. S7 said that since January, payments made over the blockchain platform have increased tenfold. It's also moving to automate other processes using the Hyperledger Fabric platform, according to Nikolai Makovnov, which is their Tech Lab executive director. The firm has previously trialed blockchain projects, last year becoming the first airline in Russia to refuel an aircraft using smart contracts based on the blockchain technology in partnership with Gazprom Neft Aero. Okay. Well, this is the end of the article. So there were a few things that were mentioned in here that that we should note. Number one is they're using smart contracts to refuel their aircraft, and probably make payments to the gas producer. They're saying that they have noticed since January that payments on the blockchain platform have gone up tenfold. They've been able to speed up payment processing, slash the amount of manual paperwork traditionally required. So they're getting more efficient. They're speeding up their payment processing. It's costing less money for them to do it, and they've been able to expand their, their sales agents. So thoughts about this? They had a lot of little gems in here.
Sarita, I'm sorry. Sarita has that same aspect of, again, the efficiency of course, hers is with, the process by which if you get a canceled flight. So they're doing it from the opposite end, where they're looking at the space available and then trying to fill it proactively. So this is really an interesting concept.
Yeah. Eric or Dr. Keisha?
Yeah, I'm loving this whole idea of the smart contract to facilitate payment, as opposed to it being just a typical financial kind of transaction when we think of blockchain, when we think of tokens and things of that nature, but facilitating the exchange of value with the smart contract for fuel transfer. That's pretty impressive. I'm looking actually at their website too, that really breaks down some of the benefits and product highlights with their new platform. So they are definitely maximizing their revenue and saving time, and reducing the cost of sales. They're saying with regard to issuing e-tickets and supporting all of their industry transactions. So it's kind of the supply chain application here going on as well. They've kind of got it covered here.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing, I think, is even though they're a big airline, they're a Russian airline. So they're probably, along with IBM, because they're using Hyperledger and Ethereum, they're probably testing out all these processes along with the banks. And then once they've got it up, running, proven together, I wouldn't be surprised if Delta, United, these other big carriers say, well, we'll just take your process and implement it over here. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly that happens, if it's a couple of years from now or whenever.
I'd be curious to see how that's going to play out too, particularly since there's always a U.S. against Russia kind of thing going on. It looks like
not when it comes to commerce, though. I mean, the U.S. and Russia does a lot of business.
I mean, like one of the things that you do think about, there are a lot of processes within the aviation industry. I'm sure Sarita, if she was here, she would be talking about it, that if they were automated on a smart contract, would really make our lives a lot better. You look at all the issues, oversold flights, issues where, I remember this the other day, I had to fly out and, I get to the airport and, and I had, it was the last flight. So I had to, this one needed to leave. If this one didn't leave, then I was going to miss the event that I was going to. But I get there and they go, hey, guess what? So the plane came in on time, everything's fine, but there's a mechanical issue with the plane and then it can't take off. And then you look at something like that and I kind of go, well, crap. Had I known that, then
you would have made other arrangements.
Yes. And then maybe there could have been a different flight that could have changed, that I maybe could have caught. And you look at things like that, and those are just human error. And it was a thing where, once they go in, they pull the plane in, they look at the inspection, hey, this needs to be fixed first or they can't fly.
Yeah.
I'd like to, Dr. Keisha, just a minute. I'd like to add to that. I think there is room for a smart contract or some sort of platform for a guy like you who is taking this specific flight because you've got to be at a specific place at a specific time. And maybe there's something in there that says, hey, for this flight, if anything is happening, automatically switch me to another airline, another flight, etc., and ping me with the information, versus a family that's, just going to the beach or whatever, and they don't really care what time they get there, and you probably and other business people would be willing to pay whatever the transfer fees, like, I don't even care. I just need to get by a certain time. So one of the things that we may end up looking at is how does blockchain, whether it's smart contracts or other platform benefits or features, how does it make life easier for us as consumers?
I think one of the things that also it states right there very clearly that they've connected their own ticketing boarding system to a banking system. So they're using their own data. So again, this is where we have this superfluous information that can actually be utilized from other purposes. So they're using their existing information that they have already collected in their own systems, just tangentially bringing it together in a more productive and efficient way. And therefore, again, you can pull analytics from that. So I can say, hey, this plane is coming in on time. It now has a service maintenance. Now we need to do something off, and a smart contract could kick off that other process to let you know, hey, this flight will be delayed. These are some other flights that are available to you. Pick and choose, and we'll reimburse you the cost or something of that nature. Right. But again, this is, I think, the aspect of incorporating blockchain. It's not like you have to rework your whole entire system.
Exactly.
This is like they're taking their existing information and just leveraging it in a different way and using the pieces that they have to connect much more transparently and much more effectively.
Right.
And the other piece I was going to add is that the way that works all efficiently is to bring in those complementary tech pieces like the Internet of Things. I'm sure that would be the way that they would be able to gather the data that they need to let you know about your flight being delayed or what have you because of something going on in terms of the mechanics or the weather or whatever it is. So it brings in the fact that it's not just blockchain, but blockchain paired with other technologies that are new and emerging, like, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and other advanced analytics kind of stuff. So, yeah. So a lot of space here for innovation.
There is. Well, I'm going to move on to the next, which I'm interested in reading this here because Cointelegraph and this article is saying, no companies have officially joined Libra Association, says Visa CEO. So for those of you who have been out of the blockchain loop for the last month, Facebook has established a coin called Libra. And there was apparently a Libra Association that was started by these huge multinational organizations. And we did a video on it a few weeks ago. It's actually a very good video where we read through a lengthy article with regards to this. But now, this is called shade in the Black community. All of a sudden there's some shade that's happening in this article. So let's read about it. Let's be a little messy here. Alfred Kelly Jr., the CEO of Visa, said that no companies have officially joined Libra. At this stage, the 20-some companies involved with the foundation have reportedly only declared interest via a non-binding letter of intent. According to an apparent transcript from the Q3 2019 earnings call for Visa, Kelly said, "We have signed a non-binding letter of intent to join Libra. We're one of, I think it's 27 companies that have expressed that interest, so no one has yet officially joined." I wonder if they still put in their $10 million, but let's see if it says further down. As per the transcript, Kelly was responding to an inquiry from Brian C. Keene, an analyst at Deutsche Bank Securities. Keene said that there was some confusion in the market and asked whether Libra would be a strategic partner for Visa or a potential disruptive threat. Regarding Visa's intended involvement, Kelly said that the company thinks Libra would benefit from the company, provided that it can meet regulatory requirements. They're saying, "We're in discussions and our ultimate decision to join will be determined by a number of factors, including obviously the ability of the association to satisfy all the requisite regulatory requirements." Okay, so this sounds like a CYA here. So Brian, in my estimation, it's really, really early days and there's just a tremendous amount to be finalized. But obviously, given that we've expressed interest, we actually believe we could be additive and helpful in the association. So, and the rest of this is just historical stuff. What do you think of the shade?
I didn't think it was shade at all. I think it was clarification. We needed to have clarification of where they stood, and that was the biggest aspect. You have to understand where they're playing, and they want to make sure they understand, like, we're receptive, we haven't committed. And that's just the language and semantics that are definitely necessary for them to make sure that if this goes south, they were like, yeah, we just looked into it.
Exactly.
That's why I said CYA.
Yes, yeah, there's nothing stopping them from backing out, just letting you know.
Non-binding.
Exactly.
Well, and it's interesting because they're saying none of the companies have anything binding. But then my question is, which wasn't answered in the article, what happened to the $10 million per company?
Yeah, I think that was the fee that was given. Again, no one said they paid it. That was purported that was what the buy-in was. So it was truly, if you go back all the way back, it just says the buy-in for each of the companies would be 10 million.
Interesting. Okay. I stand corrected then.
The kind of follow-up, there's been a lot of this talk. So this was a follow-up article that came right after this article, which was regard to Facebook itself releasing its quarterly notification in its own report. Simply said that they too don't know where the state of their coin is going to be.
Right. So you think that, do any of you think that this is because of all of the hoopla on Capitol Hill? And do you think there's a real threat? Have you read anything with regards to this?
Yeah, like let me just say this. Okay, this is definitely CYA. They got a lot of blowback. They weren't prepared for it, and and it's not just from the citizenry. It's also from the banks. Of course, they probably said, what the F are you doing? Like, I'm sure they got that response, and then they're like, oh, well, wait a minute, like, okay, let us start figuring this out a little bit. And then they're looking at Facebook. Facebook's not going to get your back. So, yeah, like, I mean, one of the things that they came out with, and yes, that's right, that article did come out, and it says, Facebook is, I mean, like they're saying, okay, it won't launch until 2020. And then it says, if at all. So what does that mean? Like, so this whole thing may just go away. And then the article is really weird. That I read this article where Facebook is saying, we hadn't, we really didn't have any experience over launching the currency or blockchain technology. And here's the problem I'm going to say with this one. All right, this from the get-go. They did this all wrong. And listen, they could probably still maybe regroup. I mean, these are really powerful companies, regroup and try to come back around. But they did it all wrong because they didn't do it in the spirit of true decentralization. And because of that, and it hovering about, Facebook is a very unpopular company. Even though people may use them, people may use the platform, I try not to. For most people, they kind of hold their nose when they do it. And also people feel the same way with a lot of corporations. And I think that this was, for me, I think that they pretty much got at least a blowback that this is a bridge too far. So at this point, I think that they're going to just stop for a moment and try to regroup and then probably come back again if they do. But they're going to come back again, but this time they're going to lead it with some really strong marketing, trying to hit you with a lot of human interest stories and try to build it from there and try to pull at your heartstrings, tug at your emotions, and then they'll try to come through it. But doing it this way, I think that it was a lot of hubris, and this is the spirit of the times that we're in right now, that people will, the collective will talk about you, and you will feel the effect about that. And I think that's what they've done. And, but it's funny.
I'm sorry, Eric. What I wondered about it was whether they were thinking that just consumer demand was going to push it along or something. Typically whatever Facebook does, everybody jumps on as far as the, the people who are using it. But I think they just they really did not think that through. They probably thought that people really understood cryptocurrency, or not really understood it, or understood it enough to want to get on it if it was tagged with Facebook, because everybody uses Facebook. But it just didn't quite go over well in light of everything going on with the regulations and things being in the news about it, and the regulators jumping on it right away. So. Yeah.
I think exactly what it said it was going to do. I'm going to play the opposite. I think they did an extraordinary PR campaign. You don't have to do anything. You just have to say you're going to do something.
Well, yeah, they definitely played that, and it did.
That's all that it was. I mean,
that's totally what it was.
They're not blockchain technologists. They're not cryptocurrency or digital currency experts.
They're not a bank.
All they had to do was put that video together. We're going to service the unbankable. That's a goodwill, feel good thing, since they just came off of a privacy, debacle. Yep. Now we're going to try to do something nice for our community. We don't have to do it. We just have to say we have to do it. Yep. We're going to make an attempt. Oh, the regulators don't like us, so we're going to have to go back and think about it some more. But just stay tuned. Now everybody's staying tuned.
Well, so I'm not sure. I'm not so sure that they were not thinking about doing it. There are times when politicians talk, but they don't mean it. And then there are other times when they talk and they mean it. And at first, when this whole thing came up, I think it was actually Auntie Maxine who was like, oh, no, no, no. I honestly thought these people are saying no out in front, but I don't know. They may be doing something in the back room. If all of these companies are putting like serious brakes on this thing, maybe there weren't discussions and agreements and things like that beforehand. So, you know, I'm the government conspiracy person of the group here. Angela, who is our resident attorney, says the original reveal gave the impression that the situation was more solid than it actually is. Every company needs to protect their position. So Herman says the white paper read like a press release, LOL.
Exactly.
So
that's what it was. It was a press release.
Yeah. So,
exactly, you know, intended. I do think that there's probably, it's a put on notice. I think they're trying to do something. Of course, they're trying to move into a space just like anybody else. That's the buzzword of the hour. They're going to have a great amount of surge around something that people want to know of. They are an authority in their own right, in their own head. So if they just throw around buzzwords, people are going to have attention. And I think some of that was really what it is. And we can figure it out as we go, kind of is their philosophy with a lot of the things that they've launched over the past few years. You have to see some of their pilot projects that, you know, they came and went with different things. And then, you know, they up and buy little companies here and there. We've seen this kind of as a trend with them. So this wasn't out of left field, but I definitely don't think it had the formulation and the solidity that most people were looking for it to come out to. And again, I think 2020 was just a nice next year. You can say next year because we're 5 months away from next year. That doesn't mean it's going to be January, and it certainly doesn't mean it's going to be December of 2020 either. So I think they gave themselves enough of the buffer to get, again, a conversation, not about their privacy, not about something kind of, you know, negative, something that would service them well, and that they're moving again with the future and being in the forefront as they want to be, position themselves as a tech company.
Well, I'm gonna slightly disagree with you, play devil's advocate or whatever. We have to look at Facebook as the fact that they're a public company. And granted, I haven't been on any of the Facebook quarterly calls. I don't really keep up with their stock or anything like that. But these big companies are always looking for ways to grow their income. And I would imagine that Facebook is probably with their revenue ads and things like that. It wouldn't surprise me if they're plateauing or slowing down, and they may have been looking for something that could be a big hit for them. And I'm sure they tossed around more than cryptocurrency and blockchain. I'm sure they tossed around a lot of solutions. But we all know, as people, I've been broke before. I'm guessing all of you have as well, that banks, the number one group of people they make the most amount of money from are the broke, the poor. You know, by the time they charge you fees for this and fees for that, and, you know, the third, they've gobbled up more of a percentage of your paycheck than than the rich or the middle class, like upper middle class. So it could just be that they were trying to figure out a way to, not necessarily the privacy, things like that, but a way to increase their stock price.
I mean, I think they're a business and they have shareholders. So they're not in the business of being, you know, they are for profit. So obviously this was a profit move. But again, with PR and how we are to just move through and utilizing our own tech, how do you do that? By just being a part of something that's new and improved, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. So they have to show how they're going to do that. And I think, again, if you read the white paper and watch the video in tandem, you'll kind of see where they're going. And again, it's just like, there was no how. I said that the very first time we talked about this, there was no implication of how they were going to do it in the white paper. It just said, yeah, we got this nifty thing. We're going to try it. We're going to give it a whirl. That was all there was to it. And that became the issue immediately. So we knew that there wasn't a lot of formulation around it. It was a throw out idea. And they did just that.
Well, you know, let's be real. So I work with obviously a lot of different entrepreneurs, some successful, some not successful. There are a lot of entrepreneurs like an Elon Musk, for example, or a Zuckerberg, who will throw something out and not know how. And then eventually the team figures out how they're going to do it. And I've worked with these entrepreneurs on a small scale as well. So a lot of times, the team will just say, well, the CEO really wants to do this. The person in charge really wants to do this. So we're just going to bungle it and figure it out as they're promoting it until we figure it out. So I'm not always nervous about a company not knowing how they're going to do stuff. But Richard, welcome. Thank you for joining. And you're saying here, Facebook will always find a way to make money for their shareholders. Agreed. Sean is saying, yes, they are. May I drop you guys a couple of links? Sean, if you're in Flock, that's probably the best way to do it. In that way we can continue to have the conversation with everybody. So yes, please. All right, let's move on to the next topic, and we're probably going to end on time too. So if you guys are interested in the debates, I think they start at 9. So this is from CNBC, and the headline is a little misleading, but I did read through this earlier today. Branson-backed cryptocurrency firm launches a super fast exchange to take on Coinbase. So Branson is Richard Branson, who started Virgin Atlantic and all the Virgin businesses. He's a very well-known British entrepreneur. And that is not Richard Branson. That's why I had to read the entire article. They mentioned Richard Branson at the very end, one sentence. So I'm just warning you all now. But I still brought it in here because of what they're trying to do, something we should probably keep an eye on. So it's talking about blockchain being the world's largest cryptocurrency wallet platform. So they named their wallet platform blockchain. Says it's launched a digital currency exchange aimed at delivering lightning fast trades. The company's exchange, called The Pit, is the result of a behind-the-scenes effort led by a team of former executives from the New York Stock Exchange, TD Ameritrade, Google, and Goldman Sachs, i.e. money. Money, money, money. Okay. According to blockchain CEO Peter Smith, the new exchange's matching engine Mercury can execute buy or sell orders in 40 to 50 microseconds, an order of magnitude faster than other market players like Coinbase and Binance. Founded in 2011, blockchain initially started out with what's known as a block explorer, kind of like an internet browser for crypto data, and then built digital wallets for users to exchange and store their crypto. It derives its name from the eponymous, sorry guys, I don't even know that word, blockchain network that records Bitcoin transactions. Okay. Having enjoyed popularity with Bitcoin enthusiasts, blockchain claims to account for about 25% of daily activity on the Bitcoin network. The company is hoping that its exchange platform will help lure in the uninitiated. So they're trying to get more mass adoption. There's a huge audience of people who have not yet placed their first Bitcoin trade. Nicole Sherrod, head of trading products at Blockchain, told CNBC in an interview. Sherrod previously led the active trading product team at online stockbroker TD Ameritrade before joining Blockchain. Sherrod said the new trading platform would give investors a degree of liquidity not seen in competitor exchanges. In volatile markets in particular, speed is of utmost importance. I would not feel comfortable delivering a platform to retail investors that puts them in a position where they couldn't get in and out of a trade with lightning fast speed. So hello, all of those, JP Morgans and all of those companies we were talking about that were crapping on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency a year ago. Now we see, what they may be getting into to do their trading. Crypto has gained a reputation for their volatile price swings. Bitcoin in late 2017 skyrocketed to nearly $20,000 before plummeting. So we know all of this stuff. Let's see here. One big hurdle for the industry is is bringing institutional investors with deep pockets on board. That may be slowly starting to happen with financial services giant Fidelity signaling it's warming to the space. Sharad said that blockchain's crypto exchange is providing liquidity through institutional level market makers. So blockchain said its exchange will be available in more than 200 companies, starting with 26 trading pairs. Users will be able to link their bank account with blockchain and use US dollars, euros, and sterling to trade crypto. The company has raised over $70 million from investors, including Richard Branson, Alphabet Venture, RMGV, and early Spotify backer Lakestar. It has also accrued over 40 million users, blockchain said, who will be able to transfer crypto from their wallets to the exchange. So, what do you guys think of this news?
Well, here's one thing I'm going to say. First of all, speaking of hubris, name your company blockchain. Mm-hmm. Okay, all right, that says a lot that you're willing to go step out and do that. But one thing that really jumps out at me is the on-ramp, the fiat to crypto on-ramp. That's very difficult for a lot of companies to achieve that. So for them to be able to get that now where it's linked to your bank accounts and you can buy crypto directly. I mean, that's one of the unique selling points that Coinbase does have within the market. So yes, they will be, very much a competitor to there. And then I think they said 26 trading pairs. So that's going to be interesting because I don't know how many coins Coinbase offers right now, and you can buy directly with fiat. I think maybe it's like 10 or 11. So if they're looking at least over double that number, that definitely says something. I'm really wondering about the executing the trades in 40 to 50 microseconds. Mm-hmm. I don't know quite what to think about that.
That's their big selling point is that they're going to be able to do it faster. Mm-hmm. They didn't say cheaper; they just said faster.
Yes.
Yeah. What concerned me is just that same point. They didn't say cheaper; they did say faster. A lot of times, there's a balance between fast and the security that you have. They didn't really talk about any security measures. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, that's what came to my mind is this the whole idea of that balance of, so it's fast, that's good potentially, but at what cost?
Yeah, well, that's the point. Like I see Richard that said, hey, I transferred Bitcoin from my Cash app to my trading account. It literally took 4 minutes. Well, here's the thing I'm wondering about with some of these trades is, how are you getting by with your verifications? And yeah. I guess that's maybe, I'm sure they have thought through this, but that is kind of maybe a slight concern. I mean, they have it now where some of these you can transfer Bitcoin from some of your wallets with zero verifications. And it just
I actually use blockchain, so I've been using it since probably for about 4 years.
Okay.
As a wallet. So I do think that that's one of the things that they have. And as the browser itself, that they were one of the very first that gave you a large portion of data viability from the hashing algorithms to the back end time. So they have a lot of data sitting there that they've already accrued. So they're using some high powered algorithm right now, obviously, because like I said, they were really one of the very first things they did was act as a blockchain explorer. So you could constantly go there and see the transaction. And then there was they had it, I don't know if they still have it though, a little report, like you can see your own transactions and it would give it to you in real time and then show you speed, the transaction size, like they would give you basically your own analytics at a click. So they're probably leveraging that information, obviously, for their exchange and how they're incorporating that. I do like the aspect of them going from, again, the connection from their bank account, but this is what we always have advised people never to keep your money on an exchange.
Mm-hmm.
So now they give you that option now to have a specific wallet that may be, even though it's concurrent to their system, it is not their exchange. They're making that point to make it very distinct that the exchange is one thing and their wallet platform is another.
Mm-hmm.
So, because they have a different engine, the Mercury engine is doing something different because that's not their back end for their wallet platform.
Yeah. I'm going to say, so going back to security, which Dr. Keisha was talking about, they are going after institutional investors, heavy hitters, large traders. I doubt that they have overlooked that. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but I'm pretty sure with the billions of dollars that they want these companies to put in and trade on their platforms, that their CIOs and their, I want to say today, I mean the institutional investors, their banks, their, et cetera, have probably been grilling them for years with regards to this. But this company here, Blockchain, is really trying to build the bridge. And it seems like right now, I mean, from the article that I read, from that article that we're reading here, they've got regular people in, but they're really trying to build a bridge to these institutional investors to come in, which can and will change the game.
Absolutely.
Once they do. But so with them though, if they're doing a multi-million-dollar trade, a second can mean the difference between a loss and a gain. So there's no room for error with this platform. I'm sure there's a lot of beta testing and we call it paper testing, I think it is, and things like that on this platform.
And I do want to say, it's always good when you have more people coming in, that you have more competition. That's what you need. Like, anytime, like it's never a good thing if, for like a company like Coinbase to just be the only one in the space, commanding such a large part. It's better for us to have multiple options. So, I mean, I always welcome anyone who's going to do great business, great service. Great. Like that's going to be good for all of us to benefit from. So, yeah.
We're just saying milliseconds matter. Yeah, you're right about that, especially in high volatility. Yeah. So they're probably looking for a trade to happen as quickly as it happens on their stock platforms or their Forex platforms. So I don't know, how quickly it happens on those, but I'm sure they're doing a comparison, and they're not going to put a lot of money over into crypto until they've got all of those kinks, hashed out. So, well, I'm going to go to two, if I can finish these two up. If not, this will be our last one, because I want to respect everyone's time tonight. But this is one about blockchain and energy, smart legal contracts on the rise. So I thought this was an interesting article here. And I know Dr. Keisha loves her smart contracts. So the Smart Contract Alliance, an initiative of the Chamber of Digital Commerce, they define a smart contract as computer code that upon occurrence of a specific condition or conditions is capable of running automatically according to pre-specified functions. So the code can be stored and processed on a distributed ledger and would write any resulting change into the ledger. Smart contracts can be used in various contexts, but they are an integral part of the blockchain and distributed ledger technologies. So with this increase comes confusion around the differences between smart contracts and legal contracts. And our friend Maureen Murat, Esquire, says that a smart contract is neither smart nor a contract. So just something to keep in mind. But I wanted to go to, let me see where they talked about.
I like how they have it, the smart legal contract.
Yeah, they're starting to do a smart legal contract here. So They're saying here somewhere in the middle of a smart contract and a legal contract is a smart legal contract, which the Smart Contract Alliance defines as a smart contract that articulates and is capable of self-executing on a legally enforceable basis the terms of an agreement between two or more parties. My mother was a paralegal for many years, and from my understanding, these smart contracts are really going to be tested in the court of law. So, once we start seeing, especially like, what do you call it, appellate court and, a Supreme Court decision, that's when these things are really going to be tested and stress tested. But for now, so don't put your multi-billion-dollar deal on a smart contract is all I'm saying. I wouldn't do it. For now, though, let's see here. There are obvious efficiency and cost advantages to such contracts, and many in the legal industry have started to capitalize on these. New companies like Open Law have sprung up to take advantage of this opportunity and drive advancements in the smart legal contracts. Open Law is a commercial operating system, and the company builds tools and applications, programming, interfaces to help enable smart legal contracts to be incorporated into blockchain-based applications. So this is kind of just explaining what the company is. They maintain an open source library. Let's see here. Others like Clause or building services to automate business processes and contract management by connecting the two. For instance, they have built a tool that allows companies to receive payments automatically upon execution of a contract, eliminating the need to chase after payments. Then DocuSign joined Clause's Series A financing round. So we see here that law firms are starting to use this. Other types of companies are starting to use Open Law. And other companies are now starting to build on top of this premise. And I'm pretty sure other companies are starting to do either the coding or the strategy towards putting together these smart contracts for two different people who want to get into a contract. So with that, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did want to introduce this platform and this concept of smart legal contracts to people. I'm going to open it up to the group. Let me know what you think.
I'll take a second. I think the smart legal contract, the two, again, executable code can be anything. And again, there are some rudimentary things that, again, based upon a condition being met, can easily happen. So we're talking about if funds, I think the example here was escrow. That is something that really is an innocuous process. It's just holding the money until the condition is met and then release the funds. It doesn't really require an intermediary at that point. And this is where this can be executable very succinctly because you have to fill that condition. And there's parameters to what that condition is. And it could have, a whole lot of things where I think this is where we can get into being very specific and drilling down and having nested enclosures into the code that give you these, if then else, then this, you can have a lot more information held within these so that you don't have those, oops, we didn't think about that, or this didn't execute right, or we just thought it went off this way. So I think these are where I don't think we're going to see it from a large part, but I do think the stress test that you talk about is going to be those really small little things like if then that. That's all that it's going to be consistently over time. And you can be running those at such a volume that the test is going to show you very clearly if in fact that smart contract is viable. The smart legal contract is viable at that point. And any nuance that comes out, that's just, again, a way for an attorney to make more specific information, like maybe we need this clause to be changed. So I think that comparison gives you a lot more I think just a better contract and a better execution of the contract without the interpretation portion that we see with attorneys now that we have them.
Right. Angela's asking the name of the platform. It's Open Law. Open Law. Richard is saying that he worked he said past tense, at a high-profile law firm specializing in M&A. My opinion, it's a good idea. So yeah, this could definitely be used for M&A, especially for small businesses, that don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars on an attorney. This could very well be something that's used. The other thing that I would say for this is if you have a love of smart contracts, there is going to be millions of dollars made from professionals who can talk to two people that want to, do a smart contract, figure out what they need, and there will not be coding. There are these platforms now where you just type it in like, regular document, and it'll automatically set up the smart contracts. And Dr. Keisha talked about this when we first started talking about businesses. You could start there's Wix, for example, where people are able to establish their own websites, yet there are people all over the world that are making money helping people set up their Wix websites. Okay. So, this thing is going to be the exact same thing. So, Rich just said it's getting them thinking. You should. I want them to really think about either a business they're going to start or something they're going to invest in, because now's the time to make money, is to get into something.
I agree.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, too, when it comes down, just like how Felicia was talking about the escrow situation, it's the same way in supply chain, because that's a major issue in supply chain is normally they're waiting like 30 days, at least 30 days before they get paid, when everything's already been done. Mm-hmm. And they're just processing all of this paperwork. But that process being on a smart contract where it's just executed, yes, if then, and then it happens, yes, it would make everyone's lives and those businesses run so much more efficient.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I will tell you something that's happening with me right now. I did work for a client, and usually I get paid first, but I was subcontracting for somebody and it needed to be done fast, blah, blah, blah. So now I'm waiting on my payment, and my person that I sub to is saying, well, when I get paid, I'll pay you. What I'm seeing is a lot of vendors now are going to start going to smart contracts saying, no, you put the money in this escrow. I know you don't want to pay me a retainer and all of that, but you put your money in escrow, and when I give you your product, that money is released to me right away. And there are going to be a lot of freelancers that are working that don't want to pay the Fiverr fees and the Elance fees and things like that will put their agreements on smart contracts and cut out the middleman, but still be able to get business done and not have to wait for their money. So, mm-hmm. And then Richard is saying, Sean, you're in publishing, royalties would be paid correctly. And that's what you've been talking about, Eric.
Yeah, so I replied into the chat too.
Okay, yeah, I see that here
now.
Yeah,
because that's an issue, and that's another thing. It usually takes 9 months, and companies can keep themselves afloat, and they can be fine with that. But a songwriter themselves, an individual person, having to wait that long when they have the record that this revenue has been generated, just needs that amount of time to be. It's just inefficient.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't need to be that way. But I definitely see this happening and this integrating with it to make it much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I thought we had some good, discussions tonight, some micro stories, but still heavy hitting. Dr. Keisha, did you have something you were going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say that it really looks like, I'm glad you shared this with us tonight, because there is quite the best practices that are already outlined on Consensus's GitHub space here. They really break down things to look for, the philosophy that you need to have, the security mindset you need to have. when you're building one of these contracts. They talk about, the type of contract you were just talking about, one that's more of a simple one that you should be able to just pick up and duplicate, as opposed to ones that's more modular. So some real things have been thought through on this, and this is probably something that I think I'll put this in the chat so people can take a look at that if they're really interested in learning more about smart contracts in the way that I am. I'm interested. So this is a really, really good resource here. They thought a lot of things through.
Yeah. And I'm sure we're going to have, we may even for the conference in Atlanta, have a group of people that want to discuss smart contracts in more detail and what's happening with them and what's happening in the industry, knowing about resources like GitHub, this consensus best practices group, what's happening with open law, things like that, because we want our people to be ahead of the curve. And then what I always ask is, okay, how do you use this information?
Right.
To make yourself better, to make yourself a stronger blockchain consultant. So, well, I'm gonna leave it here for last words. Let's start with Talisha. Any last words? Favorite topic of discussion? Anything like that?
I like the smart contract and the aspect of the legal being added to it. I think this is where we're really going to see, again, I like the code portion. I really appreciate the executable code because that's my area. But at the same time, there are some other applications, and the marriage of those two, I think, is something that people are hesitant to think about. But really, when you think about the process of things, and that's really what some people just don't want to talk about, you do the same thing over and over, and that's something that can be duplicated and automated for a better outcome. With regard to just time stamping, we know when these transactions take place, we can verify that the actions and conditions have been met succinctly, and then to release those funds. And I think all of that comes together very nicely in this format.
Eric?
In the one article, the article on the exchange blockchain, they mentioned that Fidelity is warming up to the space. Fidelity is not warming up to the space. Fidelity has an entire cryptocurrency team.
I was thinking Fidelity's probably already in.
They're already here. Like my friend here runs the Bitcoin mining facility here in Virginia. Like they've been his customer for over a year and a half. It's funny. We're early, and you see the mainstream media is kind of like catching up with us, and they say things like that. But listen, this is not a fad. This is a transformative technology in the era that we're in right now. So everyone get involved. Yes, this is not going away. This is not going away at all. So I just want to end it there with that.
Yeah. So my final comment is in regards to that same article. One of the things that I read and kind of glossed over before, but it's important, is that blockchain company has been working on their platform since 2011.
Yeah.
And they're just getting to the point where they're going to start getting some major attraction and building the infrastructure and the bridge. Number one is we are at a very good time within blockchain. But number two, there is still going to be a certain amount of patience that's required of us. So, whether you have a full-time job and you're doing this on the side, don't think this is going to be one of those things where you are going to make money in the next 30 days. It's probably not going to happen. Even for what we're doing within BCI, we are starting to make some headway, but it's going to take us some time because what we want to focus on is doing documentation. We want to be the big fish in the small pond, being the company that focuses on documentation, both internal and external, for all of these companies and all of their blockchain platforms. And we've started talking to people at companies like big and small. And we talked to Salesforce, we talked to Walmart, other companies, and everyone has looked at us and said, nobody has come to us offering that yet. But we have to be willing to stick with it and be long-term with this thing as a service offering. So, just understand that there is going to be, that the time that's required to actually make good on your blockchain time and money investment. So, but you know, there are going to be some millionaires and billionaires made with this thing, and we just want to make sure we get our fair share. That's my goal. So.
My final words is just make sure that you continue to learn all you can. There's no excuse at this point with regard to having the World Wide Web and Black blockchain consultants right here. This is what we do. This is what we talk about. You know, join us so you're not wading through a bunch of bunch of stuff. This is what we do. So, you know, join us. We're here to support your understanding in this space, and we're really broadening out to include the new and emerging technologies that support blockchain and all the other things we were just talking about. So stick with us. If you're new with us, come on aboard. This is how we get down, and we are absolutely about trying to take the angle of building blockchain businesses and supporting blockchain projects. So that's what I want to say.
Yeah, actually, blockchain is going to be the foundation for the robotics and the AI and the Internet of Things. So even if you are into those other platforms or technologies, knowing blockchain is going to make you stronger in those. So with that, I'm going to let you all get to the debates if that's your thing, or if you're like me, continue working on your other projects. And we will see each other next Wednesday. I hope you guys like this 8 o'clock time frame, if it's better for you. So
sounds good.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, good night, y'all.
Good night.